I always thought life-changing moments would announce themselves with dramatic flair. Instead, mine arrived in a hotel confirmation email that wasn't meant for me. My name is Jasmine, and until 3 weeks ago, I believed I had the perfect marriage. Rhett and I had been together for 8 years, married for 6. The kind of couple that made our friends roll their eyes at our inside jokes and synchronized Netflix watching schedules. That Tuesday morning started like any other. I was sipping coffee at my design studio's desk, mentally preparing for a client meeting, when Rhett's laptop pinged. He'd left it open on the kitchen counter, something he never did, and asked me to email him some tax documents he needed for work. The notification preview caught my eye. Your reservation at the Grand Hotel is confirmed for... I shouldn't have looked, but something in my gut pulled me toward that screen like a magnet. The reservation wasn't under Rhett's name. It was for Abigail Wong. "Hey, Amy," I called out to my best friend and business partner across the studio. "Come look at this for a second." She peered over my shoulder, frowning. Maybe it's for a client? That's what I thought at first. I clicked through his email. But look at these dinner reservations, wine tastings, weekend getaways, all under the same name. Could be his secretary handling arrangements? I shook my head. Rhett doesn't have a secretary. He's particular about handling his own schedule. My hands were trembling as I dug deeper. There were photos stored in his cloud, ones I'd never seen before. Rhett at restaurants I didn't recognize. Rhett on a beach we'd never visited. Rhett looking at someone behind the camera with that soft smile he usually reserved for me. "Jazz," Amy whispered. "There's a phone number on the booking." I stared at the digits, my coffee growing cold beside me. Before I could talk myself out of it, I pulled out my cell and dialed. 2 rings. 3. "Hello?" A woman's voice, young, cheerful. I couldn't speak. "Hello," she repeated, then muffled as if she'd turned away from the phone. "Rhett, honey, is this one of your work calls?" I heard his voice in the background, that familiar laugh I'd woken up to countless mornings. "Just ignore it if they don't speak, babe. Probably a telemarketer." The phone slipped from my fingers. Amy caught it before it hit the floor. "Oh God," I whispered. "Oh God, oh God, oh God." "Breathe," Amy commanded, gripping my shoulders. "Just breathe." But how could I breathe when my entire world had just shifted on its axis, when the man I trusted most had apparently built an entire separate life without me? "I need to see everything," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Every email, every photo, every receipt." Amy nodded, already pulling up a chair. "We'll make a folder, document everything." For the next 3 hours, we pieced together a puzzle I never wanted to solve. Credit card statements showing dinner dates on nights he'd claimed to be working late. Hotel bookings spanning back 18 months. A trail of lies so perfectly constructed, I had to admire the architectural precision of his deception. "What are you going to do?" Amy asked as we stared at the growing evidence on the screen. I thought about confronting him. Imagined throwing his laptop across the room. Pictured myself calling his law firm and screaming about their cheating partner. Instead, I closed the laptop gently. "Nothing. Not yet." "Nothing?" Amy's eyebrows shot up. "He's spent over a year building this perfect little house of cards," I said, a plan already forming in my mind. "I want to watch him live in it a little longer. I want to understand exactly how deep this goes." "Jazz," Amy's voice held a warning. "And then," I continued, "I want to burn it all down." I picked up my phone and texted Rhett. "Hey babe, thinking about planning something special for our anniversary next month. What do you think?" His reply came instantly. "Sounds perfect, beautiful. Whatever you want to do, I'm in." I smiled at the screen, but it wasn't the same smile I'd worn in our wedding photos or our vacation selfies. This was something else entirely. "Whatever I want," I whispered to myself. "Be careful what you wish for, darling." Amy was watching me with concern. "You're scaring me a little right now." "Good," I replied, already opening a new document on my computer, because by the time I'm done, I'm going to scare him a lot more. Living with a lie is exhausting. Every morning, I'd wake up next to Rhett, watch him kiss my forehead, and wonder if he'd kissed her the same way hours before. Each "I love you" became a puzzle. Was it habit or performance? "You're getting too good at this," Amy said one afternoon as we watched Rhett leave my design studio after bringing me lunch. "The way you smiled at him just now, Oscar-worthy." I wiped away the lipstick mark I'd left on his cheek. I learned from the best, didn't I? The folder I'd labeled the evidence grew fatter each day. Uriel, Amy's tech-savvy friend, had been invaluable. He worked security system installations and had access to footage from various buildings downtown. "Look at this," Uriel said, pointing to his laptop screen. "Tuesday afternoon, outside the Morgan building. The security footage showed Rhett and a woman, Abigail, walking hand in hand. She was beautiful in an effortless way, wearing a flowing summer dress. They stopped at the corner, and Rhett pulled her close, whispering something that made her laugh. That was the day he told me he had a deposition until 7, I said flatly. Amy squeezed my shoulder. "We can stop watching if—" "No." I leaned closer to the screen. "I need to see everything." Uriel cleared his throat. "There's more. I found the apartment lease you asked about." My stomach lurched. "Show me." The document appeared on screen. A rental agreement for a luxury apartment downtown. Both their names were there, clear as day. This wasn't just an affair. This was a life he'd built. "How are you holding up?" Amy asked after Uriel left. I pulled out my phone, showing her Rhett's latest text. "Missing you already, beautiful. Can't wait for our anniversary celebration. You want to know the sick part?" I laughed hollowly. Part of me still loves him. Last night he held me while we watched a movie, and for a moment I forgot. We were just us again, sharing popcorn and arguing about plot holes. That's not sick, that's human. Is it human to plan someone's downfall while sleeping in their arms? Amy poured us both a glass of wine. What's the next step? I need to understand her world better, the version of him she knows. I pulled up the FitFind app on my phone. Look who I found in my recommended connections. Abigail Wong, Amy read. You're not. Already sent her a friend request. As Jay. We both like morning yoga and green smoothies. Jazz, that's crazy? Probably. But I need to know if she's a victim too. My phone pinged. Abigail had accepted the request. Over the next week, we chatted about workout routines and favorite cafes. She was smart, funny, kind. It made everything worse. My boyfriend's taking me to the coast next weekend, she messaged one evening. Any recommendations for romantic spots? I knew exactly which weekend she meant. Rhett had told me he had a law conference in Seattle. The lighthouse at sunset, I replied, my hands shaking. Can't beat that view. Thanks. Tom will love it. Tom. Not Rhett. He'd given her a fake name. That night when Rhett came home, I was waiting with his favorite dinner. You're amazing, he said, kissing my cheek. What's the occasion? Just feeling grateful, I replied, watching him eat the meal I'd prepared. Hey, how's that Seattle conference shaping up? Looks boring, he said smoothly. Mostly tax law updates. Wish I could skip it. I took a sip of wine to hide my expression. Maybe next time. Later, lying in bed, I heard him on his phone in the bathroom, speaking softly, probably telling her goodnight, making plans, spinning stories. I opened my laptop and started typing, Dear friends and family, please join us for an intimate evening celebrating our wedding anniversary. Amy's warning echoed in my head. Revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But as I heard Rhett's whispered lies through the bathroom door, I thought maybe some poisons were worth the price. I added Abigail to the email list, using the address from their apartment lease. Then I included Rhett's entire law firm, our friends, his family. What are you working on so late? Rhett asked, sliding back into bed. Just planning our perfect night, I replied, closing the laptop. I want everyone we love to be there. He pulled me close and I let him, knowing each embrace brought us closer to the last one. I don't deserve you, he murmured, drifting off to sleep. For once, we completely agreed. Sunday brunch with the in-laws was always tense, but today the air felt particularly thick with unspoken words. Nora, Rhett's mother, watched me over her mimosa with those cold, calculating eyes. The anniversary party planning is coming along nicely, she asked, her tone suggesting she'd rather discuss root canals. Perfectly, I smiled, though I'm still finalizing the guest list. Just keep it intimate, she said. Family only. Oh, but Rhett insisted on inviting his whole firm, I replied sweetly. Right, honey? Rhett nearly choked on his coffee. Did I? You don't remember? When we discussed it last week? I touched his arm gently. You specifically mentioned including all your colleagues. The doorbell interrupted his response. My sister Rachel stood on the doorstep, looking as uncomfortable as I felt. "Sorry I'm late," she mumbled, sliding into an empty chair. "Rachel," Rhett said, his voice oddly strained, "didn't know you were back in town." "Just transferred to the downtown office," she replied, avoiding his gaze. I watched their interaction carefully. Something felt off. "Rachel's firm handles some cases with Rhett's," I explained to Nora. "Small world, isn't it?" "Quite," Nora said sharply. "Rhett, dear, have you finished that Peterson case?" "Still working on it," he replied. "Late nights at the office." I bit back a laugh. I'd installed a tracking app on his phone 3 days ago. His late nights at the office had a very different address. After brunch, I cornered Rachel in the kitchen. "Want to tell me what that was about?" What was about?" "The weird tension between you and my husband." Rachel busied herself loading the dishwasher. "Nothing's weird." "Cut the crap," I snapped. "I saw how you could barely look at him." She straightened up, her face pale. "Jazz, don't." "Don't what? Ask why my sister and my husband act like they're hiding something." "It was years ago," she whispered, "before you even met him." The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. "You dated him." "Briefly in college." She gripped the counter. "I introduced you two because he asked about you. Said you were exactly his type." "His type?" My laugh sounded hollow. "Or his revenge?" "What?" "He dated you. It ended badly, so he went after your sister instead." The room felt too small suddenly. How perfectly calculated. "Jasmine, wait." But I was already heading for the living room, where Nora was adjusting family photos on the wall. One caught my eye. Rhett and Abigail at some charity event. She'd framed it right alongside our wedding photo. "You knew," I said quietly. Nora didn't turn around. "Knew what, dear?" "About Abigail, the apartment downtown, all of it." She finally faced me, her expression carefully neutral. "Marriage is complicated." "So is fraud," I replied. "How much did you help him hide?" "I protected my son." "By funding his second life?" I stepped closer. "The rent payments came from your account, didn't they?" Her silence was answer enough. "Does it make you proud?" I asked, "watching him become such an accomplished liar?" "You never understood our world," she said dismissively. "Our obligations." "Your obligations to help your son cheat?" "My obligation to ensure he has everything he needs to succeed." She straightened her pearls. "Even if that means arrangements." I heard Rhett's footsteps approaching and quickly wiped my face clean of emotion. "Everything okay in here?" he asked. "Perfect," I replied. "Your mother was just helping me with anniversary party details." That night, after Rhett fell asleep, I slipped downstairs and set up the tiny cameras I'd ordered. One in the living room, one in the kitchen, one by the front door, all feeding directly to my phone. My screen lit up with a text from Rachel. "There's more you need to know. Meet me tomorrow." Another notification popped up, from Abigail on FitFind. "Tom's been acting strange lately. Think he's planning to propose." I typed back, "How exciting. Any hints about when?" "He mentioned something special next month, some party he has to attend first." I turned off my phone and stared at the ceiling, listening to Rhett's steady breathing beside me. In just a few weeks, he'd attend 2 parties, one as a loving husband, one as Tom the boyfriend. But only one would end the way he planned. My phone buzzed again. "Rachel, be careful, Jazz. Rhett might not be the only one keeping secrets." I looked at my sleeping husband, wondering how many layers of lies we'd have to peel back before finding the truth. Or if there was any truth left to find at all. The downtown apartment building looked exactly like the photos from the lease agreement. Modern, sleek, expensive. I sat in my car across the street watching as Rhett, or Tom, pulled up in his Mercedes. Abigail met him at the entrance, wearing a yellow sundress. They kissed like teenagers, completely oblivious to the world around them. To me, parked 50 feet away with my heart in my throat. "You don't have to do this." Amy's voice crackled through my phone speaker. "Yes, I do." I watched them disappear inside. "I need to see their life together." "This is crazy, Jazz." "Crazy as finding out your husband has been dead to his girlfriend for 3 years. That revelation had come during my latest FitFind chat with Abigail. She'd mentioned how Tom had opened up about losing his wife to cancer 3 years ago. How brave he'd been to love again. I waited 30 minutes after they left for dinner before approaching the building. The doorman smiled politely. "I'm here to see Abigail Wong," I said. "Apartment 1107. Name? Jasmine. I'm a friend from FitFind." He checked his tablet. "Ah yes, Ms. Wong mentioned you might stop by. Go right up." My hands shook as I rode the elevator. This was reckless, stupid, dangerous. But I needed to see her face when the lies crumbled. Abigail opened the door with a bright smile. "Jay, I'm so glad you could make it. The apartment was beautiful. Modern art on the walls, fresh flowers on the coffee table, photos of them everywhere, hiking, sailing, laughing. A life documented in perfect moments." "Love what you've done with the place," I said, noting my interior design magazines on her shelf. "Thanks. Tom helped decorate. He has amazing taste." "I'm sure he does." I picked up a framed photo. "How long have you been together?" "Almost 2 years." She brought out tea. "Best 2 years of my life." "Tell me about him." Her face softened. "He's incredible. So strong, after everything he's been through with losing his wife." "When did she die?" I asked carefully. 3 years ago. Cancer." She stirred her tea. "He doesn't talk about it much, but I know it still hurts him." "Must be hard, loving someone who's lost so much." "Sometimes I worry I'm competing with a ghost," she admitted. "But Tom says I helped him believe in love again." I set down my cup. "What if I told you his wife isn't dead?" She laughed nervously. "What?" "What if I told you she's very much alive?" I pulled out my phone, showing her our wedding photo from last Christmas. "What if I told you she's sitting right here?" The color drained from her face. "I don't... This isn't... His name isn't Tom. It's Rhett. And I'm not dead, Abigail. I'm his wife." She stood up so quickly, her tea spilled. "Get out. He's been lying to both of us." "You're lying," she whispered, but her eyes kept darting to the photo. I pulled out more evidence. Our marriage license, recent photos, joint bank statements. "I'm sorry, I truly am, but you deserve to know the truth." She sank back onto the couch, hands trembling. "All this time, I found out 3 weeks ago," I said softly. "The hotel confirmation email." "The anniversary party invitation," she said suddenly. "It wasn't a mistake, was it?" "No." She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "What are you going to do?" "End it, publicly, dramatically." I stood up. "You're welcome to attend. Front row seat to watch it all burn." "Why tell me now? Why not let me walk into it blind?" "Because you deserve a choice." I headed for the door. "He took that away from both of us. I'm giving it back." "Jasmine," she called as I reached the doorway. "The necklace he gave me for my birthday last month, did he give you one too?" I touched the silver pendant at my throat. Same design, different stone. She unclasped hers and threw it across the room. "I think I'm going to be sick." "The party's on the 15th, I said. "Come or don't, but know this. By midnight, everyone will know exactly who Tom really is." I left her there, surrounded by the beautiful lies he'd built. In the elevator, my phone buzzed with a text from Rhett. "Working late tonight, beautiful. Don't wait up." I checked the tracking app. He was at a restaurant with Abigail, probably wondering why she wasn't answering his calls. Another text came through, this time from Rachel. "Meet me tomorrow. There's something you need to see about Rhett's past." I stepped out into the night air, feeling lighter somehow. The truth was a weapon, and I'd just armed another soldier in this war. Now it was just a matter of time before everything exploded. Rachel was already waiting at the coffee shop when I arrived, a thick manila envelope on the table in front of her. "You look terrible," she said as I sat down. "Spent the night watching my husband not come home." I ordered a double espresso. He texted that he fell asleep at the office. "While actually sleeping at Abigail's?" "Not anymore." I managed a grim smile. "She's been ignoring his calls since my visit yesterday." Rachel pushed the envelope toward me. "This might explain a few things." Inside were old photos, letters, and what looked like court documents. I pulled out a photograph. A much younger Rhett with his arm around Rachel. "We didn't just date casually in college," Rachel said quietly. "We were engaged." The coffee cup slipped from my hand, spilling across the table. What? For 6 months, until I found out he was seeing 3 other girls simultaneously. She handed me napkins. Sound familiar? My hands shook as I sorted through the papers. Why didn't you tell me? By the time he showed interest in you, I thought he'd changed. He seemed different. She laughed bitterly. Turns out he'd just gotten better at hiding it. Does Nora know about this? Know about it? She helped him cover it up. Rachel pulled out more documents. Look at these checks. She paid off 2 of the girls to keep quiet. Just like she's paying for Abigail's apartment now, I whispered. History repeats itself. Rachel touched my hand. But here's what you really need to see. She pointed to a legal document, a paternity suit from 8 years ago. He has a child? Had. She lost the baby. Rachel's voice was soft, but Nora's checks kept coming anyway. Hush money. My phone buzzed. Uriel was calling. Everything's set for the party, he said when I answered. Video compilation, audio clips, even got the security footage from their favorite restaurants. Perfect. I looked at Rachel. Want to help me destroy your ex-fiancé? She smiled. Thought you'd never ask. We spent the next hour finalizing details. The anniversary party was 3 days away. Every guest had RSVP'd, including Abigail. You invited his entire law firm? Rachel asked, reviewing the list. Including his partner, Valentin. I showed her the email thread, who seems very interested in Rhett's recent financial activities. My phone chimed with a text from Rhett. Can't wait for our special night. Love you more than anything. Liar, Rachel muttered, reading over my shoulder. Another message popped up, from Abigail. I'm coming to the party, and I'm bringing evidence of my own. This is going to be biblical, Rachel said. Speaking of biblical, I gathered the documents. Time for Sunday dinner with Nora. The Kelly family mansion was imposing as ever. Nora opened the door, wearing her signature pearls and disapproval. You're late, she said. Traffic. I handed her the wine bottle. Where's Rhett? Running late, work emergency. I checked my phone's tracking app. Funny, because he's actually at the jewelry store on 5th. Nora's face went rigid. You've been spying on my son? Like mother, like daughter-in-law. I pulled out the old engagement photo of Rhett and Rachel. We need to talk. She led me to her study, closing the door. Whatever you think you know. I know everything. I laid out the documents one by one. The other women, the payoffs, the baby. You're making a mistake, she warned. No, you made the mistake. Teaching him that money can bury anything. I stood up, but not this time. What do you want? I want you front and center at the anniversary party. I smiled. Watch your carefully constructed house of cards collapse. You'll destroy him. Like he destroyed Rachel, those other women, me. I headed for the door. Consider this karma, Nora, and you helped build it, one check at a time. My phone buzzed again, Valentin requesting a private meeting before the party. One more thing, I turned back to Nora. The necklace he's buying right now, it's for Abigail. Same design he gave me for Christmas. You don't understand our world, she repeated her earlier warning. No, you don't understand mine. I opened the door. In my world, actions have consequences, and it's time to pay the bill. Outside, I texted Amy. Everything's ready? All set, but Jazz? Are you sure about this? I watched through the window as Nora made a frantic phone call, probably to Rhett. Some things need to burn, I replied, and I've got matches to spare. 3 days, 72 hours until the perfect marriage, the perfect lie, the perfect revenge all collided. I couldn't wait. The ballroom sparkled with champagne glasses and forced smiles. I stood in front of the mirror in the venue's bridal suite, adjusting my red dress, the color of warning signs and blood in the water. Last chance to back out, Amy said, handing me a glass of champagne. Is Uriel ready? Everything's set. Abigail just arrived. Amy checked her phone. She's wearing black, fitting. And Valentin? Front row with the USB drive you gave him. She squeezed my hand. You're really going to do this? The door opened and Rhett walked in, handsome in his tailored suit. There's my beautiful wife. I turned, offering my practice smile. Ready for your surprise? Can't wait. He kissed my cheek. Though you didn't have to go to all this trouble. Oh, but I did. I straightened his tie. Trust me, you deserve everything that's coming. The ballroom was packed. Rhett's law partners, our friends, his family, all gathered to celebrate our perfect marriage. Nora sat rigid in her front row seat, fingers wrapped too tightly around her wine glass. Rachel stood by the door, next to Uriel's laptop setup. I clinked my glass for attention. Thank you all for coming tonight, I began, my voice steady. Marriage is built on trust, honesty, and promises. Isn't that right, honey? Rhett beamed from his seat. Absolutely. Beautiful. Funny thing about promises, I continued. They're only as good as the person making them. Uriel, would you help me with my presentation? The lights dimmed. A projection screen lowered behind me. What's this? Rhett asked, still smiling but with uncertainty creeping in. This is your life, darling. Both of them. The first image appeared, Rhett and Abigail at their apartment, then security footage of their dates, screenshots of hotel bookings, bank statements. The crowd gasped. Rhett's smile vanished. But wait, I said cheerfully, there's more. Next came the evidence Rachel had provided. The old engagement, the payoffs, the paternity suit. With each image, the whispers grew louder. Jasmine. Rhett stood up. This isn't... Sit down. Abigail's voice cut through the chaos. She walked to the front, tears streaming down her face. Let her finish. Tom, he whispered. My name is Abigail, she said loudly. And you told me your wife was dead. More gasps. Someone dropped a glass. Would the real widow please stand up? I asked sweetly. Oh, wait, that's right. I'm very much alive. Nora tried to intervene. This is completely inappropriate. Like paying for your son's love nest, I projected her bank statements. Or buying silence from his ex-fiancé? That's enough, Rhett shouted. No, it's not. Valentine stood up. Because while you were building your second life, you were using firm money to fund it. The room erupted. Rhett's law partners huddled together, whispering furiously. Nora dropped her wine glass. You went through my files? Rhett asked Valentine, after your wife showed me where to look. Valentine held up the USB drive. The board will be very interested in this. Rhett turned to me, his charm replaced by cold fury. You planned this whole thing? I learned from the best. I smiled. How does it feel, having your life exposed, your lies uncovered, your perfect story shattered? You've ruined everything, he snarled. No, you did that yourself, one lie at a time. I faced the crowd. Thank you all for coming to our last anniversary. The drinks are paid for, unlike his apartment, which apparently came from client funds. Abigail stepped forward. I'm pregnant. The room went silent. What? Rhett whispered. Congratulations, I said to him. You're going to be a father. Hope those embezzled funds were worth it. He lunged for me, but Rachel's date, a police officer, intercepted him. Rhett Kelly, the officer said. We need to discuss some financial discrepancies. As they led him away, I turned to Nora. Still think I don't understand your world? She slapped me hard across the face. The room gasped again. Perfect. I touched my stinging cheek. That'll look great in tomorrow's papers. Abigail approached me slowly. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I know. I handed her a business card. This is my lawyer. You'll need one. The ballroom emptied quickly, leaving scattered champagne glasses and shattered reputations in its wake. Amy helped me gather my things. Was it worth it? She asked. I watched Rhett being escorted out, his perfect life in pieces. Ask me tomorrow, I replied. Right now I need a drink. Make it 2. Rachel joined us. I'd say we all earned it. As we left, I caught my reflection in the ballroom mirrors. I looked different somehow. Stronger, maybe, or just free. Either way, I didn't recognize the woman smiling back at me. And that felt exactly right. The morning after the party, my revenge went viral. Someone had recorded everything on their phone, and by breakfast, Not Revenge Perfected was trending. You're famous, Amy said, scrolling through her phone. People are calling you a hero. Tell that to the death threats from Rhett's supporters. I showed her my inbox. Apparently, I'm also a vindictive witch who destroyed a good man's life. A good man who embezzled money and had 2 families? My phone rang. Valentin. The board met this morning. he said without preamble. Rhett's been suspended pending investigation. The FBI is involved. FBI? The money trail goes deeper than we thought. He wasn't just stealing from the firm. I sank into my office chair. How much? Millions, across multiple accounts. He paused. And Jasmine, some of it traces back to your joint accounts. My hands went cold. What does that mean? It means freeze your assets. Now, before they do it for you. I hung up and immediately called my bank. Too late. Everything was already frozen. This isn't happening, I whispered. Amy grabbed her keys. We need a lawyer, a good one. We met Rachel's colleague Marcus at his office an hour later. He reviewed my documents with a grim expression. The good news is there's clear evidence you weren't involved in the fraud, he said. The bad news is untangling your finances from his will take months. I can't access anything? Not until the investigation concludes. He leaned forward. But that's not your biggest problem right now. What is? Abigail filed a civil suit this morning. Against both of you. Both of us? I stood up. I'm the one who told her the truth. After months of befriending her under false pretenses, he reminded me. She's claiming emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional harm. Perfect. I laughed hysterically. I exposed the truth, and I'm the one being sued. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of Rhett and Nora, but the man standing with them wasn't Rhett's father. The message read, "Want to know what other lies the Kellys are hiding?" Karma's a funny thing, Amy said, reading over my shoulder. You pulled one thread, and the whole sweater unraveled. I showed Marcus the photo. Who sent this? He studied it carefully. Could be anyone with a grudge against the family, and from what I'm hearing, that's a long list. Outside his office, reporters waited with cameras. Ms. Kelly, how long did you plan the exposure? Did you know about the embezzlement? Any comment on Abigail Wong's pregnancy? I pushed through them, Amy shielding me with her jacket. This isn't what I wanted, I said once we were in her car. What did you want? Justice. Revenge. I stared out the window. Not this circus. My phone rang again. Abigail. Why are you suing me? I demanded. Because you played with my life like it was a game, she said quietly. You could have told me the truth months ago. Instead, you built it up for maximum damage. I gave you warning. You gave me 3 days' notice that my entire life was a lie. She was crying now. And you filmed it, posted it online, made my pregnancy announcement a public spectacle. The guilt hit hard. I'm sorry. Save it for court. She hung up. Back at my design studio, clients were canceling appointments. They're worried about association with the scandal, my assistant explained. I opened my laptop to find dozens of emails from strangers. Some supportive, some hateful, all invasive. One caught my eye, from a publisher. Your story has book potential, it read. Would you consider writing a memoir? Amy read it over my shoulder. The Other Wife has a nice ring to it. I didn't do this for fame. No, but maybe some good can come from it. She sat beside me. Help other women spot the signs. Prevent more Rhetts. My phone chimed with a news alert. Prominent lawyer's double life exposes years of financial fraud. FBI investigating family connections. Below was a photo of Nora being escorted from her church board meeting. They'd asked her to step down. You know what the worst part is? I said softly. Part of me still remembers how it felt to love him, to believe in us. That's not weakness, Amy replied. That's what makes you different from him. You can still feel. Another text came through, from Rachel. Turn on the news, now. We watched as Rhett was led out of his office in handcuffs. The reporter's voice was clear. Sources say the fraud investigation has expanded to include multiple family members and business associates. Congratulations, Amy said dryly. You didn't just expose a cheater, you brought down an empire. I thought about Abigail, about the baby, about all the lives tangled in this web of lies. Some victories, I whispered, feel an awful lot like losses. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I made my way inside. Today would determine everything: the divorce, the asset settlement, and my role in Rhett's fraud case. Ready? Rachel squeezed my hand. No, I admitted. but let's do this anyway. The courtroom fell silent as Rhett was led in. He'd lost weight in custody, his designer suits replaced by standard-issue clothing. When our eyes met, I saw nothing of the man I'd married. "All rise," the bailiff called. The proceedings moved quickly. The prosecution presented evidence that cleared me of involvement in the financial fraud. My accounts would be unfrozen, minus any funds traced to illegal sources. Then came Abigail's civil suit. "Your Honor," her lawyer began, "my client wishes to address the court." Abigail stood, one hand resting on her visible pregnancy. "I came here seeking justice, but I realize now that anger and revenge have consumed enough lives in this story." She turned to face me. "I'm dropping the lawsuit, Jasmine. Not for you, but for my child. I don't want them born into a legacy of bitterness." The judge nodded approvingly. "Ms. Kelly, do you wish to respond?" I stood on shaking legs. "Thank you, Abigail. And I'm truly sorry for how I handled things. You deserved better." "As did you," she replied softly. The final blow came from Valentin's testimony about the firm's investigation. The fraud wasn't just about money. Rhett had been falsifying evidence in cases, taking bribes, destroying documents. The entire Kelly legal empire was built on lies. "The defendant's actions represent a systematic betrayal of trust," the judge declared. "This court sentences Rhett Kelly to 12 years in federal prison." Nora's anguished cry echoed through the courtroom. As they led Rhett away, he turned to me one last time. "I did love you," he said, "in my way." "Your way wasn't love," I replied. "It was ownership." Outside, Abigail caught up with me. "I found this in his apartment." She handed me an old photograph. "You should have it." The photo showed a young boy with a man I didn't recognize. On the back was written, "Rhett and Dad, 1990. "But that's not his father," I said. "No," came Nora's voice behind us. "That's his real father, the man I left to marry into the Kelly family." "So everything," I turned to her, "even his name was a lie?" "We all make choices," she said tiredly. "Some to survive, some to thrive. The lines blur." "Not for me," I replied. "Not anymore." Back at my design studio, Amy was waiting with news. "The publisher called again. They want the book, but with a twist." "What twist?" "They want you and Abigail to write it together. Both sides of the story." I thought about Abigail's words in court, about breaking cycles of bitterness. "Call them back," I said. "Tell them yes." My phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. "Settlement cleared. Your accounts are active, and there's something else you should see." He'd attached a link to a support group website. Women helping women escape toxic relationships, financial abuse, double lives. They wanted me to speak at their next meeting. "Karma isn't just about revenge," Amy said, reading over my shoulder. "Sometimes it's about transformation." Speaking of transformation, I pulled up my design portfolio. I've been thinking about rebranding. New name, new focus. "No more Kelly designs?" "No more Kelly anything." I showed her my sketch. "Sutton Interiors, building spaces of truth." Rachel arrived with takeout and wine. "Got room for a junior partner? My firm's imploding with the Kelly scandal. Time for a change." "Look who's talking about change." Amy nodded toward the window. A familiar face peered in, Valentin holding a coffee cup and looking uncertain. "He's been asking about you," Rachel smirked. "I'm not ready," I said quickly. "Nobody said you had to be." Amy opened the door, but coffee never killed anyone. Valentin stepped inside, and for the first time in months, I felt something other than anger or pain. Something like possibility. "I brought your favorite," he said, holding out the cup. "Remember when you told me about it during the investigation?" I did remember. It was the day I'd shown him the evidence against Rhett. He'd listened not just to the facts, but to my story. Really listened. "Thank you," I said, taking the coffee. Our fingers brushed, and neither of us pulled away too quickly. My phone chimed one last time. A text from Abigail. "When you're ready to start writing, I am too. Maybe we both have something to learn from each other." I looked around my studio, at Rachel sketching designs, Amy organizing clients, Valentin's gentle smile, the future taking shape in unexpected ways. "You know what?" I replied to Abigail. I think we already have.